This video will introduce you to a whiteboard tool called ExplainEverything. It was originally designed for the iPad, but it's now available for Chrome, Windows, and Android devices. You'll learn how it works, how to use it, and how it can help you meet your learning outcomes. ExplainEverything is an interactive whiteboard app that can be used to create presentations and videos, collaborate with others, share what you've created, and even discover things that others have created. There are two price structures for this tool. You might say there are two different ExplainEverything apps available. ExplainEverything Classic Features is a one-time purchase of $9.99. That's the app on which this presentation is based. There's also an ExplainEverything Interactive Whiteboard, which is a subscription-based app with a few more features, including real-time collaboration. This is where you'd find other users' presentations. This app is subscription-based and costs $4.99 a month or $24.99 per year. The company provides an educational discount for over 5 licenses from their EDU group account, which is $4.99 per user per year. Email support@explaineverything.com for more information. Here are some of the features of ExplainEverything. Even with only the classic version, it is easy to create screencasts and export them as MP4 files. Then they can be posted for students on your school's LMS. You may recall these essential learning outcomes from LEAP. Highlighted are just a few ways that ExplainEverything could contribute to achieving these learning outcomes, depending, of course, on the assignments and activities for which ExplainEverything is used. How would a college professor use this app? First, you could use it if you wanted to flip your classroom. That means having your students listen to a lecture or go over the basic information in some fashion before coming to class. Then class time could be used for interaction, problem solving, and application of the material. It's considered flipping the classroom because the traditional format would be to give a lecture in class and then send the students home with an assignment that would apply the concepts. Replacing the lecture with an out-of-class assignment frees up the in-class time for more meaningful work. Have you ever returned from class and thought, gee, I could have explained that a lot better? Or perhaps you've had several students contact you after class with the same question or confusion about something. Using ExplainEverything to put together a quick explanation or answer to a question can be quite beneficial to students. As you know, if 1 or 2 students have a question, it's likely that others in the class have the same question but just don't ask. You might make several short video explanations to common questions that you can reuse every time you teach a particular course. Sometimes professors have conferences that coincide with class time. You may hate to miss a class for that reason, and your students may feel cheated if you cancel class. Use ExplainEverything to prepare a lecture and assignment to be provided to students in your absence. Finally, ExplainEverything is a great tool for students. These days, most students have a tablet of some sort, and there are versions of ExplainEverything for many different platforms. Students can prepare group or individual assignments or presentations using ExplainEverything. And as you'll see next, it's quite easy to use. You'll start at the App Store. There you'll find both versions. You may want to spend $10 for the standalone version before you invest more in the subscription. Make sure you find the app useful for your purposes. The URL is included here for the iOS App Store. This app has many how-to videos. They are all short and easy to understand. The best ones to get you started with ExplainEverything are on the website. When you go to the website at explaineverything.com, you'll see videos on basic design tools, inserting objects, advanced tools, just to name a few. When you open the app, you'll see 3 little lines in the top left corner. Click on these to reveal the main menu. If you select Info, you'll see all of the choices. The Welcome Guide is a great place to start. Then try the interactive tour. It's fun and it reveals possibilities for ExplainEverything that you may not think of yourself. There is also a link to video tutorials which will give you even more short, easy tutorials to learn the many functions available. Here are some of the available tutorials. Remember that many of these videos pertain to the subscription. If you buy the classic Explain Everything for a one-time price of $9.99, some of these functions, such as collaboration in real time, may not be available. In the next several slides, you will see how the main toolbar functions. It is shown here on the right. Read the information in the red rectangles to see what each icon allows you to do. Pause the video if there's not enough time to read everything on the slide. The drawing and highlighting can be done on an iPad Pro with the iPad Pencil, but you can use your fingers to do these things on any touch device. Here are three more tools. The text tool allows you to use a keyboard to input text. The last three tools are not used as often as some of the others, but they are critical when you need them. This is an enlarged view of what you will see at the bottom of the canvas. There's the record screen, and there's a place to get more options about your recording. On the bottom left, you have the option to add another slide and an option to export your file. You can start a project with a blank whiteboard, or you can import any type of file, a document from Word or a PDF file or a PowerPoint slide. You can also import a video. When you click on the plus sign on the toolbar, you'll see lots of options. In the next few slides, you'll see some very short examples that were put together with different starting points. This was started with a blank whiteboard. I typed in the information you see here. I didn't record myself doing this, but you easily could. The print may be a bit small because I've embedded the Explain Everything video in this presentation, but it shows up larger if the video is viewed directly. Of course, you can make the font as large as you want. The first question we want to discuss is, where do demand functions come from? In a two-goods world, we see that a consumer's budget is described by this equation: P sub x times x plus P sub y times y equals I. And here are the definitions of those terms. P sub x is the price of good x, and x is the quantity. P sub y is the price of good y, and y is the quantity, and I is income. We can depict that in a graph where the amount of good x is on the x-axis and the amount of good y is on the y-axis. This line shows the different combinations of x and y, and it's called the budget line. The area under here is called the budget set. This was started with a PowerPoint slide. A picture of this diagram would have been an equally good starting point. You can import a slide or a set of slides and then go from there. For example, I could be preparing a lecture on the individual inquiry process in critical thinking. I could define it and talk about it at the same time. I could mark on the screen, make points on the screen. You can also use an arrow that you can move around and point. You can use a dot, or sort of like a laser pointer, to talk about different things. You could even type something on here while you're making the presentation. So this is just one example of how you could use Explain Everything to put up a simple explanation for your students on a concept that they might have not understood very well in class. This was started with a PDF file of Apple's income statement. As you've seen in other videos, you can use the pencil or the marker tool to circle things. Suppose I wanted my students to look at sales or net sales, and I was talking about that. Suppose I wanted to point out the date of the income statement. Perhaps I'd like to talk about earnings per share. Another tool that Explain Everything has is something that acts like a laser pointer. This little dot can be moved around to point to anything you're talking about, and as you're doing it and recording, it'll show that dot, but when you lift up your finger, it'll be gone. It also has other forms like arrows and of course other colors. Another feature that is so useful is the zoom feature. If you have a document with very small print, it's extremely useful to be able to zoom in on a portion that you're talking about. Often when I'm giving a lecture on a financial statement and I have an example like this, my students can't see it very well because the print's so small. So I can zoom in here and show it and then zoom back out. You'll also notice that this is moving around. You can move any object on your slide. So suppose that I wanted to add another object, I could move this off to the side and I could import another object to this slide if I wanted to. So those are just a few more things that you can do with Explain Everything. Here's everything you need to know. It's a great whiteboard app that works on many platforms. It's low cost and it's fun to use. Go to ExplainEverything.com or to the App Store for all the details.